Here we go. Forever, forever, forever. Come here, come here. I love you. Doggy doo-doos. Ew. On the surface, tiny habits may seem silly, but in actuality, they are fun, fulfilling, occasionally annoying, but most importantly, they can be used to make a difference. Hey everyone, I'm Megan Mandel. I'm a licensed biology and environmental science teacher. A couple of years ago, I read the book Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, and I really enjoyed it. The subject of the book is a how-to for developing habits that you'll actually keep, whether those be related to exercise, general productivity, job applications, etc. Like the title of the book implies, one of the keys to developing habits that will actually stick is making them tiny. There are other keys to making these habits work, such as attaching them to pre-existing actions that you do every day, like brushing your teeth. I'm not going to say that I follow all of the guidelines for developing tiny habits because I don't, but I think there's a really beautiful relationship that can be made between these tiny habits and living an environmentally friendly life. I mean, think about recycling. It's the original tiny habit. You take an action that you normally do every day, like throw things in a trash, and you attach it to a slightly different action, which is throw things in the recycling bin. Tiny, environmentally friendly habits may seem silly and unimportant at times, but they add up to save resources and save you money. I'm going to talk about 3 tiny habits that I use daily, but before I do, a note on recycling. So recycling for me is its own tiny habit in a way. I've always recycled, but I try and recycle very small pieces of paper. We're talking pieces of paper maybe about this large that you wouldn't normally recycle. If they get much smaller than that, there's not much of a point in recycling them anyway, I think, because they may not actually be able to be manipulated at all. But if we're talking a piece this large, I like to recycle those pieces of paper, cardboard, etc. And I think a lot of people don't, just because they don't want to get out of their desk and walk all the way to the recycling bin. So one trick of the mind that I use is to tell myself every time I have a small piece of paper, hey, this is where you get your steps in. This is that little extra exercise that helps you towards your exercise goals. That worked for me. Every time you have a small thing that you don't want to walk over to the recycling bin, think, exercise, exercise, exercise. If that works for you. I know for some people that may just make it worse. Okay, my first tiny habit has to do with cleaning. So I developed this tiny habit when I realized that I didn't want to use very many paper towels, because paper towels to me, since you throw them in the trash, that's not living a zero waste lifestyle at all. So I wanted to start using less paper towels and napkins, and for that I decided that every time there's a little bit of a mess, I'm going to use a towel. The exception would be animal excrement. I use paper towels for that. But otherwise, if there's a mess, I always use a towel, like this cute little doggy one. Sometimes you may have such a small mess that it doesn't really make sense to you to use a towel, and in that case, use the towel to clean up that mess and then clean up something else around the kitchen or home so that you have less to clean up later. My second tiny habit is very important, and it's very important for saving the resource of fresh water and saving you money on your water bill. When I was in college at Chapman University, we had something similar to this in all of our bathrooms in our dorm rooms. And the reason being that California goes through a lot of water shortages. Now that's going to become more of a reality for Oregon, where I live, sadly, and may already be a reality where you live. These little shower timers are super helpful, so you can turn it either way, and it is just like an hourglass. It's 5 minutes long, and this really helps me keep my showers short. I've noticed that I take about 8-minute showers normally. Since I haven't had these, I've gotten out of the habit. These work really effectively to keep my showers short. I really look at this when I'm taking a shower, and it really actually is a big motivation for me. I got this on Amazon. I'll attach a link in the description. If you buy one of these, I would recommend that you take it easy on yourself for the first few times, right? Try and get close to 6 minutes or so. You may not quite be under 5 minutes yet. That's okay. And then over time, hopefully you'll be down to that 5-minute mark. I love this. Highly recommend. By the way, saving fresh water is really important. 97% of the water on our planet is salt water, and much less than 3% is actually available fresh water for us. So a lot of that fresh water is locked up in glaciers, for example. So it's really important to save that fresh water, because we are in a worldwide water crisis and we won't have as much access to that fresh water down the line. It is a real environmental problem. Speaking of saving water for both your wallet and the planet, I'm going to talk to you about my third tiny habit. No, it doesn't have to do with my dog, but she just really wanted to jump up on my lap. This is Lilo. Lilo, say hi to YouTube, girl. You've got a beautiful face. So the third and final tiny habit I want to talk to you about today has to do with something that's kind of silly. I don't tell a lot of people about this because, I don't know, people might think it's weird, but I keep a watering can in my shower. I keep a watering can in my shower so that I can water my houseplants with this water. Bathroom products can have nitrates and phosphates in them that if you put them into the normal ground plants can seep into waterways and cause eutrophication, which is really bad. So I specifically use them for potted plants, but I like to keep this in my shower because then oftentimes I don't even have to get water out of my sink for watering the potted plants. I can just use this. So I really like doing that. If you have a plastic or rubber watering can, that would probably be even better for your shower so that it doesn't rust or anything, but my metal one's doing pretty well and I've been putting it in the shower for a few months now. Like I said, that's kind of a weird one that I do, which brings me to one point that I want to stress about tiny habits, which is a lot of them will feel silly and you'll feel like kind of a weirdo for doing them. And that's okay. It's kind of fun actually to have these weird little quirks about yourself, but if you're embarrassed by them, let me just say, don't be. There's so many little time-saving things that you'll develop throughout your life not related to the environment that may seem weird to other people but are effective for you. Who the hell cares what other people think? Do them. Do them, do them, do them, because they can really make a big difference for you and, like I've illustrated today, for the planet as well. So guess what your task is going to be? Probably not a hard one to figure out this week. Develop a tiny habit. If it's not related to the environment, okay, fair enough, but I hope it will be. If not, you could do a couple. Have fun with that tiny habit. I'd love it if you can leave a comment below about a tiny habit that you'd like to develop or that you have developed. And that's it for me today. As always, if you can like, subscribe, and comment, means so much to me. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. You're awesome. Don't forget it. Bye! I love you.